All right, so week 2 of the 20th anniversary special is delayed until Friday, but they did go ahead and start adding the crossover golden gift boxes. These are not new; these are some of the old ones. Um, so I wanted to really quickly cover maybe some options that are probably worth getting. On the rare side, one of the ones that comes to mind, I think it's going to be here. So I would recommend getting Infinita staff. It likely to be nerfed at one point. It's back for those that don't have it. The SP heal on the ranged mode and the MP heal on the magic mode are extremely powerful with weapon-based LE locked skills, and especially if you have booster pets and stuff. It's just you can actually full heal in one turn. In some instances, it's really strong. I think that may be it for weapons, personally speaking. Yeah, there's all this other stuff. I think the rest of the stuff to me is more of a preference. But I think that Infinita staff is pretty well understood to be probably overpowered. I think the Frost Titan head, if you have the Titan shield, you probably don't need it, but it is another option. If you have extra rares, I think it's probably worth investing in, to be honest with you. I don't know much about this shield. I may actually get it, but I need to do more research on exactly what this does here. From what I understand, it creates some full set bonuses with the actual armor, but I think it has a skill also, so we'll see. Let's see, for spells here, I don't know that this might be new here. There's a lot of people that like this. I personally don't ever use it. I think it's just my preference. Let's see here. No, nothing really here. Okay, so go to the ultra rare. I know right off the top, I'm going to talk about this guy here. So time killers with the changes to hyper crit, this is actually worth getting. I would say that's the only spell that's a normal spell. But then the other thing that I would get, let's see here, I would pick up, the Void Awakening Skull Guest. You can actually buy one and swap in the item upgrader, and there is a pet version of it, and they're all worth getting. Let's see here. Guess it would help to actually be in pets. Let's see here. Yeah, so on the summon one, on both, it basically they heal MP based on damage done. In the guest version, it's going to have an MP upkeep, and then on the called here, it's going to be SP heal, and then it's going on the guest version, it's SP upkeep. So the pet is going to probably net you the best regen there, especially if you're a luck based Beastmaster using the new Optico Misc. It's based on damage done, and they both toggle. The MP versions do a mana shield on the other toggle, and then the SP versions do the chi shield. And there is some pretty neat playstyles considering the element here. I think that may be about it, in my opinion. I am contemplating getting the armor. If you're in the armor, then the pet and the guest gain LE comp of 1.6 something. That might be worth getting. I'll think on it. Some people may like the predatory armors, and this one here, I think a lot of people feel like that they're not as good as they used to be. I think this armor here, I picked it up. I kind of regretted it at the time, but I actually feel like with some various forms of SP regen, you can pretty much cast the skill pretty regularly, and it does a turn skip with an auto hit against you. The monster auto hits you, but then the next round it automatically goes. You don't have to press any buttons, and it's basically can potentially do like a mini nuke, even though it's a full defensive armor. So it's not too bad. It's better than I originally thought. But anyway, so I'm going to move on to basically showcasing the pets and the guests that I picked up today. So here they are here. I personally like the art of it. So as you can see here, so this one's I picked up the guest, the MP guest, and I picked up on the pets. I picked up both. I think it's probably worth owning both instead of going through the item upgrader. That way you can actually use both instead of having to just swap all the time. And so I think this actually works out fairly well. So what I'm going to kind of showcase here is I'm just going to cast a spell here, and then you're going to see barriers. So I've got the hit point barrier based on the Necro, and then you got the Mana Shield. So as you can see, they're both the Mana Shield here. So the Mana Shield's 312, the guest will go now 513, and then now it's way up to 1093, and that's just because of the Lucky Strike here. Another thing you could probably do, obviously, is Clever Disguise spamming. And I'm not real sure if this result is better than relying on the Lucky Strikes. It may very well be. So I'm all the way up to 1680 on that. So you could pretty much build it and build it and build it, I'm sure. So for those that like to play with a lot of barriers, it's pretty nice. So now I'm going to go to MP heal mode on just the guest here. So it's just a level 5 weapon, so I know I'm not going to land. So we got an MP upkeep. So let's watch this here. So we'll go from 508 to 394 and then back up to 647. So even though it's an MP upkeep, you're still, as long as it lands, and yes, BTH is an issue. I think these are a plus BTH lean, to be honest with you. So BTH is less of an issue with these guys. Again, so 360 down to 246. So 360 up to 553. As you can see there, you're going to gain more MP than than what you're using with the upkeep here. So now that I have both of these here on MP heal mode, let's kind of watch and see what happens. 255 to 676. All right, so 618 to 852. So you probably gain, I don't know, between 150 and 300 per turn, I guess you could say. Just by itself, I think this monster has 100% resistance. Yeah, so let's see, you got 719 So use them both in conjunction with one another. Actually, you're gaining MP, even though you have the MP upkeep. You can also do where you can toggle one on the mana shield while the other one's gaining mana. So your mana shield would go away if you ever drop to 0 MP, but if you use one to heal and the other to give you the barrier, it can be sustainable longer. So there's some strategy there that's inherent with it. Alright, so I'm going to also now show... so I got Tropo Shield. Remember, it is Fire, Earth, and Energy Elevon. So if I cast one of those elements, and then now I'm going to also include Optico. So in this instance, I'm just going to cast a spell that is fire to see if I can get this guy to trigger. So we get some Elevon, and then you have Optico. So as you can see, I pretty much healed back my entire MP. So by going this route with these items, you're probably going to have a never-ending supply of MP. I'll demonstrate one more time on the next monster. So like if I don't have Mandate in my inventory right now because I just swapped from Backlash build to Showcase, but I could just cast Mandate until my blind or my choke was strong enough. Meanwhile, fire is at 115%, and then eventually I would be able to get my defense to a point where I don't have to worry about being killed while I'm replenishing my MP, and then basically you have never-ending Mandate casting. Or if you want to just go with an offensive playstyle, you know, the model is 2 spells and 10 rounds. Well, this basically is giving you more than 2 casts in 10 round scenario. So that time it wasn't quite as high. I think the Elevon didn't trigger. So that's based on no Elevon there. The Elevon's not triggering because I don't have enough SP here, so let's just do this real quick. Alright, so now let's see if we can get some Elevon going. Here we go. So now we're going to start to see some enhanced damage a little bit. And again, you can use damaging spells or whatever you need to, and you'll be able to, for all intents and purposes, just be able to cast and cast and cast. This one's a little bit more MP. As you can see, it's still giving me the ability to continue to cast and cast and cast and cast. So I don't know how many times I casted there, but you know, I still have another cast here. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to switch over to this. So as I've demonstrated before, with this setup, I typically use the Warpire Bat Swarm to bug out the Elevon, and then the pet that I use is the Jelly Pet, because the Elevon here is fire and energy. The Elevon here is also fire and energy as well as earth, and then I have my Jelly Pet on energy mode. So just to kind of rehash old videos, I'll start off with Jelly Pet here. So you have the Elevon, again, 192 to 309, and then the Jelly Pet goes. Got an 1100 SP heal. And because this is a status bomb, you've basically really weakened the monster. Now the Jelly Pet has the 3 modes, right? It has, there's 4,000 heal there. It has the 3 modes. You can toggle between hit point, MP, or SP healing. But its heal is also normalized in that it doesn't matter if the energy element is 130 or 10%. It's going to heal the same. The only thing that changes is the actual damage. So you have to keep that in mind. That's one of the reasons why Jelly Pet is so good, is because it doesn't really matter. Doesn't really matter the element. So you're not going to be able to beat the Jelly Pet. But I've renamed these. So SP Void Awakening Skull. So what I want to do is now show the same scenario, but just swapping out this guy, just so you have an idea what kind of SP healing it's able to do. So it's that time was like what, 1,000, a little more. We're gonna kill the monster here. All right, let's go to this next one. So for those that didn't get Jelly Pet, and then so this setup that I use not being a viable thing because it's more difficult to have infinite SP. This pet, the Call version, it's called actually Call Void Awakening Skull, especially with the use of the Optico, bugging out the Elevon here, and then Foam Finger on pet mode, the plus 50. You're going to be able to see some very good heals. You're not going to see the same, like, if you remember before the Jelly Pet, I was doing 4,000 heals. I've actually been able to do 8,000 by doing a lot of celerity. So here we go, 2,000 and 1,600. So that's, honestly, that's probably like 4,000. Just shy of 4,000 heals there. And this is one scenario that you're not going to be able to do as well if you don't have Prime Chaos Orb to change the elements. Also, if you notice, this is only 2 hits, where Jelly Pet is 4 hits. So Jelly Pet's better versus bosses. And then because Jelly Pet's healing is normalized, it's not even going to hit damage caps on most bosses, or the damage cap's probably more likely going to affect this guy, being less hits. Alright, let's see here. So that was pretty tame SP heal until you start using your Elevons and your Optical Misc. So I mean, 1k plus heals every turn, and then this turn will be more because the Elevon stacked from the previous turn. So then that one is 2,500 damage. So this guy's probably going to be better for damage, most likely. Maybe not quite as good for healing. But with this setup, it's really, unless there's monsters that have like all 50% or less, that's where Jelly Pet will actually really excel versus this guy. But you know, not everybody has it, so that's the instance in which this pet is worth bringing on board. and actually using, I think. If you can reliably heal your SP over and over and over, there's a lot of quick casts and stuff that you can add into your Dark Invader playstyle. Uno Poca, or you could just carry Geo Castellum and just cast it over and over. As you can see, it's not bad pet damage there. This, using the Warpower Batstorm, is a little better than if you were to just summon the actual guest here. And then like I said, you could actually mix and match. Maybe you want to do MP heal on one and SP heal on the other, or you could do mana barriers with the chi barrier. So you can do clever disguise spamming. So now I've got a mana barrier here and then a chi barrier here. So what's going to happen here? It looks like it took it out of the chi barrier first. You know, doing like this, you're not doing any damage. You know, maybe you want to do it like this for a couple of rounds and maybe build some barriers up or something. But there's different ways to go. I think the pet and guests are worth getting. Like I said, I bought both pet and both versions of the pet. Only one guest. And again, the armor, the Void Awakening armor, is a neutral armor. And supposedly, if you're in that armor, will give your pet and guest Ellie comp damage, which you don't see every day. So that's kind of a nice feature, neat feature. But anyway, that's it for this video. Again, I think the Void Awakening stuff, the pet and the guest, are worth it, especially for those without Jelly Pet.